Just too many of the big guys for you, buddy. Hold on tight.
Can Spidey handle a Sentinel's blast?
Oh.
Grab a copy of this month's Spider-Man. Marvel Comics, it's mayhem for your mind.
Hello, welcome to the Nostalgia Comic Book House. Today, we're going to have some fun. I'm Johnny, he's Will, he's Andrew, and Andrew, what are we discussing today on the Nostalgia Funhouse?
Comic book covers. The wonderful art of comic book covers.
Wait a minute.
I thought you meant like somebody who's like doing a cover of a comic book cover.
Are we
in music terms?
Are we literally just going to judge all these books just by their covers?
All of them.
Of course we
too.
Of course we are.
And I'm a harsh judge.
Man.
We're gonna,
my librarian would be so upset with me right now.
She's fired. Or he's fired. Is there male librarians?
Never. No, we have one in our town.
Really sucks.
We have one in our town.
I just never really seen a guy librarian. I just never seen one.
I have one. He has half a hand.
Well,
wait.
I've heard that females have orgasms, but I've never.
Wait, he has half of a hand?
Yeah, he's got like half a hand. Half an arm, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Just like the guy from.
I was gonna say, what is this? Just cut off, like right?
Is it bitten off by a gator? Because I know what movie he could have been in.
No, I think he was born that way.
Does he teach kids lessons?
Yes, he does.
Was it his wife's idea?
I think it might have been.
Teaches kids lessons all the time. This is why you return your books.
He's at my library all the time, and he always complains that he doesn't have a full-time job. He only works there part-time. But I'm like, dude, you're here like all the time. You're never not here.
Yes.
Because he must be a volunteer type guy too.
Maybe.
That's like when I worked at the used car lot, and it's supposed to be part-time. Then I realized I'm literally here during every time this place is open.
He says it's terrible because every time he goes in, it's because they're shorthanded.
Oh,
so even when he's there, they still are.
Yeah.
When you did that, it reminded me of when my uncle was telling me that their ice cream lady only has one leg, and I was like, no. I was like, are you telling me that there's people that go up there? And she's like, what can I get you? And they're like, I don't know, I'm kind of stumped. And that's our show, everybody, as we get canceled for all of our bad.
Bada boom boom. Gotta have fun with wordplay.
Yeah. But yes, we were doing comic book covers. Each of us did 5. Johnny made sure each of us did 5 too.
Look, I just counted pictures I saw. There were 6 pictures. That's all I was paying attention to.
That's because
we all know that I'm not good at looking at details.
It's just because I'm such a high roller, and one of my comics that I submitted is graded, so I can't unfold it. And I want to make sure you could see the front and the back cover.
We all had to throw in our faces that he literally owned all of those. The ones I owned, some of the ones I was showing, but I wasn't about to go dig them out.
I think at one point I did own all these, and then I got rid of them.
Actually, some of mine I owned, sold, and then rebought.
You know what you can't get rid of, though? Power of the Force.
Nope. So, people won't take them for free.
I
went to go donate them to the Salvation Army. The guy turned me around and said, get out of here, you. He had a shotgun and everything. He said, go on and get.
Did he call you to a room and be like, look at all of these that I have? It was just the whole complete, like 10 complete collections of Power of the Force.
Hey, I'll take a couple.
What do you want it? Do you want it loose? Do you want it not in the box? What do you got?
Give me a couple. Give me like the 8 different versions of Luke Skywalker.
Oh, you gotta get the burly chest one. Yeah, the He-Man
muscular.
Luke Skywalker.
The farm boy one, where he's just
peps are popping out of that shirt.
I've seen that calendar. Yeah.
What's weird about that is I never realized how jacked they were until somebody just pointed out. I think I was watching like Retro Blasty or something, and they were like, look how muscular they are. And I was like, I never realized how muscular they were compared to the original.
Oh, I did. Because I remember I didn't have Lando for the longest time. So I went and bought a vintage Lando. And I'm like, he clearly doesn't fit in with these beefcakes.
They want to make fun of him for not being as
Even
buff.
even the 3PO was a beefcake.
Oh, I don't remember the 3PO. Now I got
Oh
a
yeah.
picture.
Yeah, he works out.
Yeah.
I work out. All right, so here we go. Are we ready for?
We've each picked 5 comic
Yep.
book covers that we liked or kind of mean something to us. Yeah.
So here we go.
We don't know Andrews. I haven't seen Andrews.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So first one,
Oh, that's a classic.
All right, this is mine.
Ani.
This is mine. Now this is a very classic. The Batman had the Nightfall series, and that is where he literally gets his bat back broken by Bane over his knee. And I have a very strong memory of this being the first comic that I bought with my own money, and I saw it in a Winn-Dixie grocery store back when grocery stores would actually carry comic books. And I thought this was just the most wicked cover I'd ever seen. And I love that there's just like a T-Rex just looking
Yeah, I mean,
A T-Rex and a giant penny.
because he's in the Batcave, but he's breaking Batman's back. And it's the Nightfall is actually a great storyline series.
Yeah, I
And,
highly recommend any Batman fan to read it. It's a lot of like intricate and like one-off villains. Like I remember what was the guy, the Tally Man? He
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
this. He was a good villain. So yeah, this cover is really great.
Well, this it also establishes Bane. He's not just a big muscular guy. He's actually incredibly smart too. On top of all this, like he wears Batman down before he even fights him. And man, it's just so good. And this scene's been kind of recreated quite often with Bane and Batman and other like in movies and in the animated
Isn't
series.
it? Isn't it where like Bane releases like all the inmates from Arkham, and
Yeah.
that's what wears Batman down because he's like trying to
Yes.
gather them all back up and get them all back into the prison. So
Yep.
Batman's like exhausted. He's pulled in like 17 double shifts.
jeez.
Yes.
Plus,
Alfred-
you got to keep things going at Wayne Enterprises too.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, and one of
Alfred
the-
wasn't being too quick with his chicken cutlet dinners.
That's when for a little bit of time Azrael kind of shows up.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it becomes Batman for a bit. And I thought his Batman suit looked pretty sweet.
Yeah, he had a great toy. This came.
Yeah.
These have birthed a great toy line too.
Azrael was so 90s though. Like you just see that
Oh, yeah,
Batman
yeah.
suit, it just screams 90s.
Yeah, but
It does, but in the coolest way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember seeing this when my dad got it, and I was like, "What?"
Now, why do you guys remember why he didn't just have Robin like fill in? Was that when he was like doing the Nightwing thing and he was like kind of out of sorts with
He
Batman?
was
Like why?
Robin at that point. Was it Todd Drake? It had to be because Jason Todd. They were like, "You
Yeah,
need."
he already died. So yeah, it had to be Tim Drake.
Yes, Drake for sure.
Yeah.
Because Nightwing, Grayson was already Nightwing at this
That's
time.
true. That's true. Yeah. But
Maybe,
like, why didn't like Grayson take it over?
maybe
or
he
Tim
didn't want to
Drake,
do
or-
it.
Well, which is weird because later on, he does take over Batman. Grayson does there for a bit, which
Yeah.
is actually really great, by the way. Really good books. But yeah, I highly recommend the Nightfall series.
Do you know how hard it was for iconic of a cover this is? Like, I know you sent me one, but when I enlarged it, it got really blurry. It took
Yeah.
me forever to find something that I could like drag out to make it to where it would still look good. Like everything else was blurry, and I'm like, this is probably one of the most iconic like comic book covers of all time. And yet you can't find a good enough example of it anywhere where you could like put it on like a presentation page. It kind of
Yeah.
pissed me off. And that is very weird with the T-Rex.
Yeah.
I did not remember that. So as I'm looking for these, I'm like, who's photoshopping T-Rexes in here? So I had to look at the one that you sent me, and I was like, oh, it's supposed to be there. Okay, okay.
You can do like a recreation of this, and it's a T-Rex bending Ian Malcolm over his knee.
There's a porta potty in the back.
Yeah,
All right. Here we go.
the missing goat.
This one is yours, Will.
Yeah, this is I love the Swamp Thing run. especially the Alan Moore stuff. And this is like a really cool comic where he basically is tired of people polluting. Obviously, he's an eco warrior. Back in the '90s, everybody was an eco warrior. You had Captain Planet, you had Swamp Thing, you had
Texas
Captain.
Crusaders.
Yeah, oh yeah, yep, all that good stuff. So he basically has all the plants in Gotham just like go crazy, and he's like taking over the city. Gets a little help from Poison Ivy, if I remember correctly, and it's just a nice little story. But I just love this this comic book cover and the imagery, like a giant swamp thing, and he just vines everywhere, and then you got Batman like approaching him, who's like half of, not even half, I'd say like Batman's probably the size of just like the Swamp Thing's head in this comic cover, and it's a giant-sized issue. So,
Ooh.
nice little story for sure. I love the colors. It's got the pink that pops on the cover, and I think Swamp Thing is one of those characters that underutilized in the grand scheme of like the DC universe. Like I know they had the show on the USA Network for all those years, but
Yeah.
that was a show on the USA Network for a ton of years, so it wasn't that great.
And the
Um, yeah, the cartoon was kind of short-lived. That was only like a one episode or one season.
There's no monk.
yeah.
No, no. And then they just recently tried to revive it, but that only lasted for one season. I think they canceled the show before like the second episode dropped, and they already
I think,
canceled
yeah,
it.
yep.
That was actually a pretty good series, but you could tell they left it open-ended and they were hoping it would keep going. Um, but yeah, I've always had an affinity for Swamp Thing. I think he's just a cool character. Great books. So
And I tell you what, I really do always love it when every once in a while they'll just throw in like a very almost it's almost like the comic books version of a very special episode where
Yeah.
it's like the giant size where you get like a whole contained story of one comic book.
yeah,
I always love when they do stuff like this.
yeah, and that's exactly what this is. Like you don't have to collect two or three comics. It's just everything's in one nice, neat little package. You get the whole beginning, end, and great story, and you don't have to. It's not really It's not really not linked to any other of the lore of the comics. It's nice
Right?
when you can
Yeah.
just get a beginning to end story, and you don't have to kind of know exactly what each character is doing up to this point.
Nice. Yeah, I'm more looking for stuff like that where they combine everything into one book if I'm looking for anything.
Yeah, you're Alan Moore looking.
The pink is crazy, but it works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really makes
yeah.
it pop. Yeah,
Yeah, because everything's so dark, and then all of a sudden you got like this pink going there, and the red of swamp.
that's just where two go into.
All right, and we got. So
I'm very excited.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
this
this is a great one. Yeah.
this is mine. No, I bought X first X Force. I didn't find this one. So New Mutants first, I believe this first appearance of Cable. So my dad was a comic book collector, but he was also kind of a stingy comic book collector, where it's like, hey, like, don't touch it too much, you're gonna crease it type crap. All
Yeah.
right. So I didn't get a chance to read most of these, but I remember we were sorting his comics. Once every couple of months, he would sort out his comics, put them into the big thing. Like the man had a lot of comics to the point where at House of Fantasies, he would like pick them up like it was like a drug run. Like the guy, good old Paul, would have them already prepackaged for him. And I remember when we were sorting through the comics, and I remember seeing this. And normally I was like, oh my goodness, who is this guy? Like he's got like this gun, he's got the eye, like everybody's looked in shock, like Cannonball, Boom Boom, and they're all just like in shock over him. And this is like where I've like fell in love with Cable, where I was like,
Yeah.
Cable is a complete badass.
That's where I switched from syndication.
And this is and this is my this is like my favorite guy. And then later on I found out that, you know, Cyclops' son, which made him even better for me, because
Yeah.
Cyclops is the greatest X-Men of all time.
Oh, we agree there. We agree there for sure.
Who are those other two? Is one Wolfsbane?
I believe so. I don't know who the other ones are.
Yeah.
Is it
Can't,
wait, didn't she change her name? It's not Boom Boom anymore, right? It's
I only knew her as Boom Boom.
okay, because I always I always liked her because there was also a hockey player named Jeff Boom. So
That's a great name.
so I always liked Boom Boom. And Cannonball was always cool, but just looking at it, the way that Cable's on there and stuff like that, and they're all kind of like in shock and who this
Yeah.
guy is. And I mean, what kid back at, at this time didn't want some guy, you know, looking almost like a pro wrestler with guns?
Yeah.
Like that was then it just always catches my eye when I think of
I can't
comic
believe we
covers.
I can't believe we can't see his feet though.
That's because he's
Yeah.
body sliding.
I think it's because he drew him. That's a sweet cover though.
All right. Johnny.
All right, so Will and I are obviously big turtle heads here. I had to include some Ninja Turtle ones. The reason that this Ninja Turtle comic cover really stands out to me is this is the first time when I was a kid that I discovered that the Ninja Turtles were actually a comic book first. Because I grew up when the animated series was on, so I thought that's all I knew at the time. And then I went to the public library as a kid. We went there a lot. The Valdez Library is what it was called. And for some reason, they had this comic. It was the whole Triceraton run. Like it was all collected in one book. But this was the cover that they had for it that they chose to be on the front. And it just stood out to me. And this is when I discovered, holy crap, I felt like the coolest kid ever because I knew how dark and gritty the turtles actually were compared to their cartoony counterparts. And the Triceratons, and if you're a kid, you also love dinosaurs. You're mixing up dinosaurs and Ninja Turtles. Sign me up.
Is this before or after 1992? Because you know how I feel about the Turtles after 92.
I read it after 92, but it's the comics from before 92,
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah.
Are those
Yeah,
like foot soldiers or like police officers or something in there?
I don't know. We'll have to ask them on Foot Clan Follies. We'll find out.
I think those are some elite foot guards.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's
Triceratons
just-
are awesome in the books.
Yes. And just look how much is going on here. I mean, this is just really showcasing the art of the Turtles, the original style of them from Eastman.
Yeah, and a lot of the first runs, like they were printed front and back, so
Yeah.
they're really nice covers. I love the Eastman and Laird artwork.
I get it, Will. Sometimes comic covers have a back to them.
And they came back and for the newer run, I think it was Eastman. He did a lot of the B covers.
Yeah, he did.
That
Yeah.
are pretty cool.
It's a good thing I didn't pick that X-Men #1 cover.
Well, I was going to change one about to the one of those X-Men covers. Like, I don't want to give Will more ammunition.
So this one is mine. This is Howard the Duck #9, but this is a newer run of Howard the Duck. It's within the last 10 years. But I love this series. They did like a short run, and then they did a second series that was in continuity with the first run. But I love this line of comics because it's basically where like Howard is actually he's a television show in the Mojo world, in the Mojo verse,
Okay.
but he doesn't know it. And
Like it's sort of like a Truman Show type thing.
yes, and he finds out that all his bad luck isn't just due to bum chance. It's because they needed higher ratings. So there's a part where they actually have Leah Thompson come in, and she is just how she is in the real world. She's like she makes a lot of meta references that she starred in a Howard the Duck movie, and there's jokes about duck tits, and there's jokes about her having relations with a duck. And I just love this comic. And like I remember I was into the series before this issue dropped, and when this one dropped, I was the guy at the comic book store, good old George, is like, "Oh, the new Howard's got to be pretty good. You're gonna like it," because he would always reserve them for me, kind of like your daddy has his drug run. Good old George.
Dude, that's all it was like a
Yeah,
bag.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like when I
yeah.
walk in there, he just has a stack of books for me. I don't even have to go to the rack.
That that yeah, my comic book shop will do that for me too. When I
So
was getting comics all the time.
so I love this run. I just like the Howard trapped in the old school TV with the bent rabbit ears. I know it's a simple comic cover, but I just love how it's
No,
just
it
like the white
works.
void,
Yeah.
and then they sell you with the special guest star Leah Thompson with her just and there's a second cover where she's actually like front and center, but she's rocking like a denim coat, and it's got like Howard the Duck patch on it. That's a nice little second cover as well. So great book. Love Howard the Duck. Another unsung, uh, I think, character that needs a little bit more mainstream attention.
Yeah,
Did the movie hurt him?
Oh, I think so.
I,
Big time.
I
I
love
love
that
it.
movie.
I know it's so good.
I love that
but
movie growing up.
great kids movie. Yeah,
It's,
I do think though, like people were kind of ready. I mean, when he popped up on Guardians, everybody got excited.
Yeah, yeah. I would have liked him to get a little larger role as the series
Oh
went
yeah,
on, but
yeah.
yeah, me too.
what can you
Yeah.
do? Oh, nice.
Oh wow, yeah.
Mine's blocking the thing. So I had all these growing up. Um, nice thing about my father reserving things, because I think there's a funeral for a friend four.
Yeah.
You can see the top.
Yeah.
It is. Yep.
It's the little Zoom banners blocking it. But I had all these. My father reserved them all. And one of the greatest things that I remember as a kid is my dad got us each a copy of reserved. He had three copies of, or actually four copies of the Death of Superman reserved because he wanted to keep one in a bag and open one. And then he got one for my brother and I, but we kept ours in a bag. And then was it the Rebirth where the white came out? It was in the white bag.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yep.
we made a pack that one of us were going to open up because we each got one of those too. That we were going to open up one of our Deaths of Superman, and then the other one had to open up the Rebirth one to see what was inside of it because we just wanted to see what was inside of it, and we were very disappointed. Because
Yeah, and you got to keep them in the bag because you're going to pay for your college.
yeah,
Nice thing is you could still pick one up for probably the same price you would have bought it back in 1993.
yeah,
Yeah, because they may have overproduced it a little bit there.
I'm actually thinking about going back and eBaying, or actually, there's a oh, this is how you know America is still great. Next to the good old arcade is a comic book shop, so that works out good for everybody. But I'm thinking about going there and seeing if I can't find all of these again. But this one, like there's the Doomsday one where he's beating Superman. There's the Death of Superman cover, but always like this one is kind of got to me because it's just all of the Justice League, and then it's just Batman.
I love how it's
like the cape down.
I love how the bottom tier is the Justice League. Except for Guardian, those are like A-listers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I love how the top tier is the Justice League that was there to help Superman when he died. And it's like, where the fuck was the A team when he was battling Doomsday? Why just send in the D team? Like what is that?
They're busy.
Bloodstone? Bloodstone is up there. He's like considered one of the worst superheroes of all time.
I mean, they do have Shazam.
Shazam, Guy Gardner.
You got Metamorpho up there, yeah. Because like this was such a huge.
This was big.
Yeah, I mean, this is
Oh,
what got this whole storyline is what got me into comics. The death of Superman. It's funny. I almost was gonna send you the funeral for a friend where it's the gold statue of Superman.
Oh yeah.
And I did the same thing you're contemplating doing years ago, where I rebought the death of Superman arc, the funeral Superman arc, and then the reign of the Superman, which will come up later.
That's
And I got a bunch of them at the Super Flea, which is a flea market here in it used to be out here, it's no longer around, but I got them for like $1 a piece. The guy just had long box after long box, and he had so many of the Superman ones. And he's like, $1 a piece. He goes, if you buy 10, I'll give you 2 for free.
That's
So I got them for pennies. literally. It was great. So
There,
this is a sweet cover though.
because
Yeah,
I did.
I don't.
Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
I was gonna say is I don't think people realize if you weren't alive during this era how big of a storyline this was. Literally made the news, like
Yeah,
national news.
Yeah, this definitely, I think, propped up the comic book boom of the 90s.
Yeah,
Uh, for sure. This is, I think, the sole purpose we had such a big boom. And then off of the back of this, we had the Batman story arc where he got his back broken. Um, so there was a lot that, and then Marvel tried to jump in. They did the symbiote suit with Venom to, try to boost their sales. There was just so much change in the 90s for the good or for the bad. Then you had Spawn coming, and then that's when
yeah.
the market started to really kind of get diluted, where it's like you had 7 different covers of each book, and people were trying to collect this, that, the other thing.
it's okay because the comic book they learned from their mistakes and they would never start doing it again. Where every comic book had 8 different covers, they would never do that again. So
I think they have some comics have like 20 different covers now.
that's what I said. They don't do 8;
Yeah.
they do 20.
I did go looking for these recently. Like I was looking up like a comic shop that was closer to me because the one that I was talking about, the one closed down that was really close to me, and the owners were like super cool, but they closed down. They only do like an online store now. And then I did find another place and I went there and it was just more of like Warhammer 40K store.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, and then I was like looking for the comics, and I found them, and they were just so unorganized, and like it was just a bunch of long boxes, and they just had comics sitting on top of it, and it just really frustrated me that I couldn't just like go to a letter and look and see what I could find. Like I literally would have to go through all the boxes, and I was like,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
don't
So
don't advertise you have comics. That's all I want to do is go up to the front desk. I know
no
it's
organization. Yeah,
boomer to me or whatever. But it's like, hey, if you're not going to organize these and keep them in,
yeah. At least put them in alphabetical order for crying out loud.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of comic book shops now, they don't even do backlogs. It's just new stuff and then toys and Warhammer and role playing.
yeah,
You're very lucky to find a good comic book store that actually has back issues. And if
Yeah,
they have back issues, if they actually have them organized by character, then you've hit a gold mine.
yeah. This one was the one that 20 minutes away actually has them all organized very, very nicely. It was just at a point where I was not buying comics and just kind of went in there to look.
Yeah.
yeah,
But you could tell it was an actual like comic shop, not just, hey, we have Warhammer.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No offense to Warhammer, but
No, no. I mean, there's no offense to any of that stuff, but comic
yeah,
book shops have gotten where they had to have that stuff to stay open. It's
hmm
just a sad reality of it
yeah.
because people spend more money on that than like Magic the Gathering, on those type of things.
Yep.
Oh my, I got a funny story to tell you guys when we're done about Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
It's a uh
Okay. All right. So I love Spider Man, and I was trying to think, and he's had so many iconic covers throughout his long history. But I remember distinctly when this one hit the shelves, just how cool it looked. It's if you've never seen the Amazing Spider-Man 700, it's literally just the face like the one of the sides of Spider-Man's mask, but it's all made of smaller pictures of Spider-Man. And all his different suits, like all the reds made out of all of his red suits. Then you got all of his black suits making up the outer part of his eye. Then the inside is a different lot of white versions of the characters. Um, Side note, I have a question for you guys. What's your favorite Spider-Man suit?
I hate Spider-Man.
You
I'm
gotta have a
not gonna
favorite
lie.
suit.
I'm gonna put favorite suit. I'm trying to think what I'm playing with in the Spider-Man game. I'm not a big fan of Spider-Man. And we're
I
gonna
could have guessed that because I like him.
we're no, come on. I'll show you guys why I'm not a big fan of Spider-Man. Plus two, I'm not a big fan of Venom, but that's because of my brother. Favorite Spider-Man suit?
Yeah.
Not well, I do like the Scarlet Spider one.
The Ben Riley.
Yeah, and then I like one of my favorite toys was the spider armor.
Oh yeah.
The silver and
Uh,
black one.
Yeah, I like the spider armor. Those are probably my two favorite, and then you're just basic Spider-Man ones.
To me,
that were-
Spider-Man's got to have those little webbing wings
yeah.
that
Oh,
he had in in his first appearance in the
At his
Amazing Store,
on his
Amazing
armpits.
Stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
those. As long as he has those, I'm gold.
My favorite one is there was a point in the 2000s where he joined the Fantastic Four, and he had like a white suit with the black.
Oh, the Future Foundation.
Yes, I freaking love that game. Was really cool.
I
And
thought you were
side
about
note,
to say you loved. I thought you were about to go. I love the bombastic Bagman.
I was gonna say that's one of my low key favorites, just wearing a bag on his head. But I just and also side note, check out that run of Fantastic Four. It's crazy good. I think Hickman wrote those. I can't even talk. But it's big spoiler alert: a major character doesn't make it, and there's a whole comic book that takes place after that actually made me cry. That's how good it is. All about all these characters dealing with that afterwards. And Spider Man's in it, and he looks. And it's just really cool. But yeah, this is number 700. I always love this cover. I like how they did this.
that was a nice cover. It was weird because like when I looked at it on the phone, you I didn't get the grasp of each one, but as I was
Yeah,
making this, I was like, because at first I was like, why does it look all weird? Like, what's going on with this one? And then all of a sudden, when I found it, or when I got it off of my phone and I enlarged it, and I was like, this is sweet how they're doing this.
yeah.
So it was a very different appreciation from looking at a small picture on my phone to
Oh yeah,
a
it's a very
bigger
cool
thing.
collage once you're able to actually look at it.
Yeah, this is something you can't just look like. You can't just send this to somebody on a phone and say, "Hey, check this out." I
Yeah,
think you need something bigger.
I think that's to be said for all these. They're such pieces of art. Like you got to see them up close and in person.
Yeah.
So this one's me. This is kind of going back to what we were talking about with Andrew's Funeral for a Friend. This is the conclusion of the Reign of Superman arc, released in '93. It's just Superman number 30, and it's the one where it's the battle of all the Reign of Supermen. Now this particular one is the lenticular cover. So this was the shiny one. The regular one, it was a shot of Superman with the mullet in the black suit. Oh, sorry, he was wearing the black suit, but he was in the actual Superman original suit, and he's kind of off in the background. And then you have like the other Steel, Eradicator,
Love that.
Superboy. They're all kind of flying in the foreground. It's in smaller scale, but I always love this one because this is the one I got when it came out, and I remember getting it when I came out and we were going to a theme park called Darien Lake, and I was just reading it. I read it probably like 4 times on the way to Darien Lake. And I remember as we were getting out of the car, my sister was like, "Come on, it's time to go to the theme park. Didn't you read that thing enough?" I go, "Yeah, but it's Superman, and he's back for God." And she goes, "It says back for good, you idiot. You can't even read." But this was such a huge part of my childhood, especially my comic book section of my childhood. And like low key, the other ones that I would give an honorable mention to is I absolutely adored when they introduced each Superman. They gave them a comic book where it was just their logo
Yeah.
and it was just like one color. So like it was I remember the Cyborg Superman, it was like a blue comic book cover and it just had the logo. And then when you go to open it, like the logo section was cut out and the next page was just like a one shot of that character where the logo was on you could see their logo, but it was the cutout for the cover as well.
yeah,
And it still bothers me to this day that the guy who actually became Superman like he didn't get a comic like that. They only did one for Steel, Eradicator, Superboy, and Cyborg Superman, because they didn't introduce like the real Superman till a little bit later. And he was like, it was the '90s mulleted black suit Superman.
So they killed
This
it.
is this is just a sweet cover too, because Superman's literally flying right at you.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you got the face of the cyborg Superman in the background, and he's back for God.
Watch out, God! Superman's coming back for you.
Uncle Baby Billy will get
Yeah, yeah.
it. I remember the first time I saw those comics, and when you do open it up, because my dad was like, "Hey, check out these," and he was like, "These are the four new Superman men's or whatever." And I remember looking through there, and I see the Cyborg one, and I'm like, "This is kind of stupid." I see Steel, I'm like, "This is stupid." Then I see Superboy, and I'm like, "This is stupid." And then I saw Eradicator, and I was like, "Oh, oh!" And I remember going through it, and he wasn't like Superman at all. Like he was hurting people, and I was like, this is the guy. This is my guy right here, and I loved Eradicator ever since.
Yeah, and in this, they all the four of them team up because Cyborg Superman, big surprise, he's not very nice. He's a villain, and they team up to take him out. And then I guess they just all collectively decide that yeah, this guy's a Superman, and then
Yeah,
he's a Superman.
I do always kind of like it. I mean, I know they're gimmicks, but when they try something a little different on their covers, like I remember, like maybe like a decade or so ago, where they did the villains, DC villains, and they would, um, and then covers would change if you flip them around a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
those were cool. Yeah, each one like it was the say like I remember I was getting the Swamp Thing run. This was for the New 52. And like you
yeah,
one issue of the Swamp Thing, it was just Arcane and it was like the villains of each comic book character they took
right,
over the issue for the month.
yeah, it was
And
really
like
cool.
they were on the cover. So,
Yeah, didn't Superman split two? There was like a
yeah,
red one
after
and a blue one.
yeah, that was like
Yeah,
early aughts.
Yeah, didn't like that either.
Neither did I.
you just give
I
me
don't
my
think
call
anybody
out.
did.
Yeah,
So,
All right, good old
nice.
X Factor number one. So I liked this one a lot too because my dad had reprints, I believe, of X-Men, like X-Men 1 and 6 or 1 and 3. I don't know, it was definitely 1. And we used to read that because obviously he wouldn't care if we messed that up because it was just a stupid reprint. And I remember seeing that, and it was always cool just to see the five and see how the X-Men were. And then you see X Factor, and it's just the five of them gathered together again. And it was just kind of like one of those cool things. Plus two, I never realized Cyclops was in yellow.
hmm
I like
side note:
My
the Fate of the
Mandela,
Cyclops suit.
my my Mandela effect says that's white. Like even on the
Oh
original,
yeah,
going
yeah,
back to thinking about like looking originally at this, in my head it's white.
yeah. I'm very very biased, but I think Cyclops has had some pretty sweet versions of his costume throughout the years.
Oh yeah, yeah. What
I like
other?
how they kind of little mixture. Like some of them have new suits, some have the old. I've always been partial to Blue Beast. I'm not a big fan of just the weird looking big man with big feet and big hands.
See, I kind of like that one. Maybe because that's the one that I like read a lot of. Was it
Yeah.
gray at one point too?
I think that was of Apocalypse
Okay.
when he was
Oh,
gray.
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got good old Angel before he became Archangel. Ice.
Is that's man? Yeah.
Oddly enough, ironically, yesterday I came across this Jean Grey figure at Target. The new one that's hitting
One like this
shelves.
one.
And yeah, just in this costume.
I wonder if they make all five of them like that.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure Iceman they've made like that.
We used to put Iceman in the freezer.
Yeah, that was a great toy.
I think him and Snowjob will get along.
Mr. Freeze.
That's a comic book. That's a crossover. I mean,
I remember watching, this is completely different comic book company, but I always thought Captain Cold in the Super Friends was Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
And then I started watching Super Friends again, like obviously when I was older, and I was like, wait a minute, that wasn't Mr. Freeze. That was Captain Cold this whole time.
Yeah.
And I probably believed it because my brother probably told me it was Mr. Freeze. So he's older than me. So I had to.
Mr. Freeze is one of my all-time favorite villains, but Captain Cold has some pretty wicked moments in the comic books. He literally snapped a guy's leg off once.
I bet all these ice powered heroes and villains could really help out that ice cream lady if she ever needed somebody to lean on.
But
So, did we even talk about that on air, or is that is that could only is that
We're
just so
done.
inside of just us three?
we're done. We're done. We're definitely canceled after this. But yeah, this is well, the one with the white is my Halloween costume.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
So did he have this costume in white, just this verbatim, like the axe
So
across the
the
chest?
Instead
X
of
is
the yellow-
the X is white
Yeah, the yellow. It's white instead of yellow.
Nice.
because I wanted the Cyclops mask. So I figured if I said I wanted to be Cyclops for Halloween, then my mother would have to buy me the mask. And then-
Wasn't it? I think the first Toy Biz figure that came out for Cyclops had the white X.
Yeah, that's probably why I'm
It did.
remember it that way. And then she bought me a blue sweatshirt and blue sweatpants, and then bought some like contact paper or something that was white, and she made the X. Like she stayed up to lay out the complete X on my thing, and then I went to school. Then I got to press it.
I've never seen Angel with the X across the chest. He always
You've
has
never
like the
seen that?
little. No, I've only seen it where he's got like the
The
white front, and then it's got the little halo.
oh, that's
Yeah, yeah.
all right. $1.25 too. Get your comic.
That's-
I've been really
That's-
depressed seeing these prices on these comic books.
Yeah.
It is because Will was like, this one's newer. And then I looked at the price and I was like, oh, yep, that one
Yep.
definitely is newer.
Yep.
That's more than $1.25 for sure.
I remember seeing 75 cents. We got Johnny's.
All right, so I had to have one like underground comic that it's from Image, so it's not super underground, but not a mainstream one that everybody knows. Did you guys ever read Manifest Destiny?
No.
All right, so my local comic book guy, he would also, besides my pulls, he would also like put ones in there that he thought that I might like, and this is one of those. And I read it and I fell in love with it, and I love his cover. But the gist of it is, this is Lewis and Clark from the very famous, when they went across to the West in the early years of our country. And, but in this version, they run into all kinds of monsters and stuff.
Oh,
So it's sort of like a supernatural-ish version of the Lewis and Clark expedition in a way. And it's just incredibly cool. I really love it. But this cover is really great. Highly recommend this series. It's so, so good.
Do they run into like mythical creatures like Wendigos and Sasquatches and stuff?
yeah, cryptids.
Yes, but it's like a lot of what's that show I'm trying to think of?
There's more Lovecraftian.
It's a little kind of mixture. You can tell like they were really influenced by a lot of different stuff.
Okay.
Like I mean, even one time they were into like some giant ants and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like your mom's sister.
Like a little Land of the Lost
Talking about my mom's-
sprinkled in there
Yeah, that's
too.
what I'm trying to think of. Yeah, Land of the Lost is type of stuff is sort of in it too.
What was
Yeah,
the other thing I was. They do.
it's so good though. Like I highly recommend it.
So they're just traversing America.
Yeah.
Going against like Bigfoot and is it like
Yeah.
Is it like an X-Files type deal?
They're still Lois and Clark, like this very famous duo
Yeah,
in
but
history.
like is it kind of like that though where
Well,
like,
you know,
each one's
during
like an adventure, but they face something like a different monster each time?
well, they don't know what's out there because nobody's been out there yet.
Yeah.
Right. So it's sort of like Star Trek in a way, but like they're going through and like their goal is to find a way and actually survey all the land. Like there's like in the history, like we did in the history books, but they're also like one of them is can't remember which one. But one of them is like sort of like even like this happened in real history too. I can't remember if it was Lois or Clark, but one of them is drawing pictures of the creatures that they find that they've never seen before, that type of thing. So that's a part of this too. It's just man, it's just so good. It's basically like a really good monster movie in a way, like a supernatural monster movie.
Now, I just saw the motion picture made for cinemas called Almost Heroes, and Chris Farley and Matthew Perry told me that these two individuals were real jerks.
I will bow down to any Chris Farley reference.
Sacagawea with them.
I can't. It's been literally a decade since I've read this, and I'm trying to remember. There's got to be because they take a lot from history. It's historical fiction is essentially what it is.
I
But I
thought
really loved it.
I
Yeah.
thought those were like dead bodies underneath them in a minute when I first saw it.
Now, my comic book guy, he would also do that, where he'd slip new stuff in there.
Yeah.
And I just realized I think he was just giving me what he had overstocked on.
Well, my comic book guy would
Because
actually
because
you know,
they never made any sense, and it got to the point where I would just like I'd start going through my stack, and then I'd just politely just put things back on the racks
well,
that I didn't want. I mean, they're $5 a piece.
Oh, so he would still charge you even though he's
Oh yeah. He's like, I put some stuff in there I thought you might want. And I'm like, you're just trying to make me buy stuff that you have extra stock on. That's all you're doing.
that's genius in a way.
Oh,
Well, the guy's been in business for over 40 years, so.
where's this at?
It's on Oliver Street, North Tonawanda here. A place called Haley's Comics. It's been around
Oh,
forever.
yeah. Okay. I know where you're talking about now. It's weird that we all three got different comic book shops.
Well,
I used to go to House of Fantasy back in the day. That guy was he was basically the comic book guy from The
Oh, yeah.
Simpsons.
Yeah. I
He literally got mad at me once because I asked him to get something from the back. He was eating a hot pocket. And he
yeah.
was upset that he had to get up to
I got-
wiggle his fat ass back there to see
I
if
love
they
that.
had it.
He's the one that my dad had all the comics and he gave it to my brother and I, and we went through them and we were like, what are we gonna do with all these other ones? So we were like, oh, we'll take them to Paul and we'll see if Paul wants them. And we were like, hey, we have and I'm like, we have George Legend's comic book collection. And he was like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, well, it's too big for me to go through. So I'll tell you what, I'll give you a penny. I'll give you a half a penny to, a penny to a half a penny for each comic. We were like, we're just gonna put these back in the car.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Now, my memory, every time I think of that Paul guy, I just picture Harry Knowles from 1990s internet fame. Is that what he looked like, if I remember correctly?
I always thought he looked more like the comic book guy, like
Okay.
just 100% like comic book. I'll find a news thing for you, Johnny, and I'll send it to you. Like when he was closing.
Yeah.
He was just
I-
a very, very ego man too. Like if you try to talk comics with him and you did not know, like he would make sure he corrected you.
We had two local comic book shops that were kind of competing, and I would go to both of them. One of them I was a lot closer to the people there, but and the other one, the guy who kind of resembled the comic book guy, literally, he was walking out of his shop. He heard some lady screaming, and he went to go see, and some guy was trying to assault her. If you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
and he literally saved her. He knocked the guy down and sat on the guy until the cops came. True story.
We now refer to that on the show as pulling a dynamo.
Yes.
I just sent you a photo of the wonderful man from House of Fantasy. It's such a great
Oh, wow,
shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, told you. That's
Yeah.
And
If they
he
did
would-
like a live action Simpsons, he would be the comic book man. Yeah.
and he would sit there and McDonald's was across the street, so he'd like send his kid to go get McDonald's. The other cool thing about the House of Fantasy at one point, they had a Mr. Do machine in there. So you could play Mr. Do. So my dad would give me money, all quarters, because I would buy the quarter comics. So I had to make a choice. Did I want to buy comics or did I want to play Mr. Do? I
Mm.
did a little bit of both. This is a great one.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love this book. So this is mine. This is the Batman: The Killing Joke. Again, I love Alan Moore, so this I think is some of his best work. And this is just an iconic cover. I mean, it encapsulates who and what Joker is in just one image. It's Joker wearing his Sunday best with his nice bonnet hat, and he's got the gloves on. He's got an old school flashbulb style camera that he's holding in a vertical fashion, and it's covering up half of his face. Got a big grin on, the other eye squinted, because that's what you do when you're looking through the camera lens. You got to squint the other eye, and he's just a nice little speech bubble that's just a smile. I mean, this book's obviously not going to be for everybody because it is very adult in theme, but I mean, it's a wonderful encapsulation of like what the Joker is and how he'll just do terrible things just because, no reason. And it's basically in the comic. It kind of gives you a little bit of a backstory of who the Joker was before he was the Joker. Now, some people don't take it as canon. They just think the Joker is just crazy, so you can't trust a word that he says. Basically shows that he was an aspiring comedian, wasn't doing well. Something happens, just bad luck that ruins his whole life, which then sends him down the path of becoming the Joker and just being a madman. And then he wants to take that notion and apply it to Commissioner Gordon, and he wants to just have him have the worst day possible to see if he can take a good man like Commissioner Gordon and turn him to be an insane psychopath.
He
And
does some pretty terrible things.
yeah, the levels that he stoops to are pretty heinous. And then it's one of the best endings, I think, in a comic book where, again, it's left to interpretation, but a lot of people feel that this is the comic where Batman does kill the Joker at the end, but obviously they don't show it. But again, it's left to interpretation. But the Joker gets Batman to kind of crack a smile and laugh at the end. People take that as a Batman just giving him one final, yeah, you got me to laugh before he takes him out. But this is a great comic
Yeah.
book cover. I would say this is probably top 10 iconic DC comic book covers.
I agree. Yeah.
I love
If
it.
you look at comments at all, you've seen this cover.
Yeah. This is where he turns good old Batgirl into Oracle, right?
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
And that's not even
Certainly
the
is.
worst thing that he does.
What's the other one where he takes the whole Bat family?
I think he's done it a couple of times. He did it in the New 52. Can't remember the Snyder when Snyder was writing it. I love his stuff, but
I still
where he went after. But I wouldn't think you would have read that, Andrew, because that's after year 2000.
That was after 92, so I don't think you read it.
Yeah.
I matured. Okay, no.
I mean, he's done a lot of terrible stuff. I mean, he killed one of the Robins. Well,
Yeah.
technically,
Well,
the fans
the-
killed
the
Robin. 'cause they
Yeah,
didn't
killed
yeah.
kill him.
Jason Todd. The
Yeah.
fans killed Jason Todd.
Yeah.
And you probably had to like call in and get charged to
No, that's exactly what it was. You would call a 1-900 number and you could vote for whether he survived or died. And I want to say that it was like a $35 difference. It was like something minuscule for them to kill the character. And they're like, all right, I guess we're going to kill him then.
then bring him back.
He was dead for a while though. He wasn't
Yeah.
he wasn't gone for as long as like Bucky Winter Soldier style, but he was gone for at least a couple decades.
I still have 2 graphic novels I got to read of The Last Ronin, and then what is it? I bought Batman That Laughs, and I still have not read them. I'm probably going to do that next week.
Believe it or not, I thought Last Ronin was a little overrated.
Ooh,
Is it
I
because of which turtle lived? You think
No,
if the turtle would live?
I thought the story was kind of pedantic. It's like,
how did you feel, Johnny?
I like a lot of the aspects of it, but I get
Okay.
what Will's saying.
It was like one of those like it might have been different if you didn't know what turtle it was,
I already
and
know
then
what turtle
they
it was, and that's why I
and
want
then
to
they
read it.
well like they let you know what turtle it was in the first issue, and then they show you how the other turtles die. Like I feel like
Yeah.
if you would have shown the other turtles dying, and then oh okay, then you find out through the comic which one it is.
Oh,
I think it would have had a bit more of an impact.
they did
Yeah,
it
I think
like
each comic they should like just slowly start giving you clues so you can start deducting it, and then but they sort of like rip the band-aid off right away.
Yeah, like
no,
the first issue, they tell you who it is. And then the next issue, it's like, this is how this one died. The next issue,
Yeah,
this is how this one died. The next issue, this is how this one died. So it's like you already know all these people die, and they're just showing you how they die.
yeah.
so it's kind of like what the Acolyte did, where they were just like,
It's better than the
where
Acolyte.
it was. Well, no,
Yeah,
I'm just
I
saying
wouldn't
that.
sink that low.
Well,
Yeah.
no, in like in the process where you were just like trying to figure out something, and all of a sudden they were like, "Nope, here we go, surprise."
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
But done better than Acolyte.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things better than the Acolyte.
Yeah.
My bowel movement this morning.
So when I said I hated Spider-Man,
Oh,
it's
here you go.
it's because of this cover.
Wait, did you pick this one?
Yeah,
It's not mine. It's his.
Why
this
do you
is
hate this
mine.
cover?
Why did I pick it?
Why do you hate this cover?
No, I don't hate it. This is one of the reasons why I don't like Spider-Man.
You're a
So
Craven
like
guy.
so like I no, it's just it so we used to, like I said, help my dad sort his comics. So you would have like your Web of Spider-Man and then your Amazing Spider-Man pile. And I remember going through and as a kid I thought it was kind of like tortured doing this in a way, but then it was kind of fun because I got to see the covers, but then I realized it taught me how to really organize stuff pretty easily with this. But I remember seeing this, and once again, little brother, big brother, and I showed it to my brother, and I'm like, "Why did he like kill Spider-Man?" And he was like, "Oh, I've never even read this, like, because my brother like destroyed it for me, and he was like, yeah, he beat the crap out of him. I think he like buried him alive too." And then after that, I was like, I hate Spider-Man. Like all my other superheroes, like they get beat up, and this is definitely before the death of Superman because it's 75 cents. And I'm like, all my other superheroes, they get beat up, but they don't die. They win in the end.
He didn't die though.
Yeah, but my brother told me he did.
Oh, okay. So it's your brother's fault.
Look,
should-
yeah,
You hate
like
your
my
brother, not Spider-Man.
Well,
Spoiler alert, Andrew. Spider-Man wasn't killed.
well, he destroyed Spider-Man for me. Okay, but that's how I was like. He was like, "Oh
You
yeah,
know,
beat
you-
the crap out of
If
him,"
anything, Peter Parker's around naked somewhere.
and then
You-
I'm like, and that's where I was like, you know what? I'm not like I like the Spider-Man cartoon and everything, but after that, I was just like, you know what? I really don't want too much to do with Spider-Man. Like, I don't
I
want.
kind of hate this pose for Craven.
I remember Craving having pants in this comic.
Why is he like on his
I
tiptoes
didn't
here?
focus on that.
No, like
Focus
I
on
remember
the fact that he had
like you were talking about how the Cyclops, you thought he had the white X. Like I remember my brain tells me, my Mandela effect brain, Craven had pants, not a
I bet in this
loincloth.
instance it is Craven some pants.
every time I hear
It's
somebody
raining
say
and it's cold.
every time I hear somebody talk about pants, Cartoon Network used to do some like mashup thing. And then all of a sudden we went to like Super Friends and they were doing like kind of what is it that G.I. Joe pork chop thing, pork chop sandwiches thing, but they were doing
Yeah.
with Super Friends. And then out of nowhere, somebody was talking about pants, and then all of a sudden, like goes to Solomon Grundy, and you just hear him go, "Solomon Grundy want pants too." And I have no idea why. It was just that one phrase with Solomon Grundy where I was like, say that he wants pants.
Born on a Monday, pants on a Tuesday.
You know who you really have to blame, Andrew?
Oh,
Your father, because if he had the next comic book that was in this series,
It's awesome. That cover is awesome.
it's Spider-Man in the black suit, like crawling out of the grave. So if
It's
he would have
really
had that
cool.
comic, you would have known that in
I-
fact, wait, Spider-Man didn't die.
And it's actually
Lives.
an iconic cover compared to this one.
Yeah, but see this one stands out in my head from a kid.
Yeah.
Like I was
Because
like,
you love those craven thighs.
he
look at
does have
those-
some good thighs.
Look at his look at why is he on his tiptoes? Is this like a ballerina pose?
I think it's
I
just
think
because
he's
it's muddy.
stepping out because his one foot's down over something, and I think he's like stepping out of something.
You know what would have made this cover better if he was whizzing on the grave?
Better. But I just remember seeing this, and then I hate Venom because my brother used to pin me to the ground and then stick out his tongue and have like drool come out and wiggle his tongue back and forth and go, I'm Venom. So that's why I hate Venom. So pretty much anything Spider-Man is shut down around this time. Like
We can blame your brother for all of it.
until like the cartoon came out, like I was
Yeah.
so done with Spider-Man.
Are you the reason the Sony Spider-Man verse isn't being successful?
Probably
I think
so.
so.
I
Supporting
won't
it?
watch
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I
You
won't watch it.
single-handedly bankrupt Morbius and Madam Web
Yeah. Done
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
not 'cause they're bad
and
movies.
Craven
And Craven.
and Craven. Yeah.
Yeah, I just this one I know it's like so like you guys are like, oh, there's other iconic ones, but this just always stood out in my head. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's got to be over probably 30 years, and it still stands out in my head as one of those comic book covers where I looked at it and I judged the book by its cover, and then
That's what we're doing.
and then
Only
I
cost you
listened to my
75 cents.
and then I listened to my brother, which
I really hope that
Uh,
Aaron Taylor Johnson. I hope that when he was training, he just had this in his mirror, Rocky Four style,
oh,
and he just ripped it down when he was in shape
Oh.
enough to be Craven.
his
And they
heart
couldn't get him to wear pants.
Yeah, no pants, no
Rocky
pants.
No pants.
Rocky 4 in November. I don't know if it's coming anywhere near you guys, but they're re-releasing it in the movie theater.
Are they doing the Drago cut, which is awesome, by the way?
Yes, they are.
Oh, I gotta see it then.
Yeah. I saw my local Cinemark is
Which one's Rocky 4?
that's Drago.
Oh yeah, that's why you said Dragon Cut. It makes sense now.
1 and 2 is Apollo, 3 is Clubber Lang, 4 is Drago, and 5 is Machine Gun Tommy Morrison.
I think 4 is my favorite one then.
Pre-AIDS. Pre-AIDS.
He never had AIDS. I thought he tested
Oh
negative.
yeah,
after
now
all
he never
that.
well before he
Well,
got
that's why I said pre.
free.
Yeah.
It's the Rocky 5 is the only one where he doesn't fight in a ring.
I love that one. That's underrated
Really?
gem. I love 5.
I'm a 3 guy because
3 is my favorite by far.
The-
But I think they're all great in their own way.
I'm not.
Yeah, I
Gonna,
liked all the 5. I liked them all. But yeah.
I have Hearts on Fire on my Spotify playlist. I have to. Gets me going in the morning.
All right. So of course I had to have another Ninja Turtles cover.
Now, Johnny, the left-hand side, that's the back of the cover.
Yeah, but you notice how I have it on one picture.
Well, mine's in a case. I'm sorry.
I think Johnny just didn't want to make sure that we all had 5.
Actually, to be honest with you, I was like, if he got 6, I was going to have 6.
That's
Well-
what I was thinking in my head too. I was
Well,
like,
I was
God,
when I read your text, I was laughing to myself before I even responded.
I thought I responded in kind.
I
No,
Uh,
it's
didn't know
great.
what's going on. I just saw the your will. I'm a dumbass. That's all. And I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on? And then I opened it and I read the rest, and it all made sense.
Oh man, yeah. All right, so Raphael's my favorite turtle. All right, so I remember seeing this image and just being blown away by how freaking cool it looked. Like it's Raphael taking on the Shredder in the foreground, and behind them you got and they're in color, and behind them is a fight, but none of that's in color. You see everybody else. You see April. You see the other turtles. But what's really even cooler about this art is like the shiny parts are shiny, and I always really liked how cool it looked. I remember trying to find this as a poster to hang up in my room, and I never found it because of how cool. This is like one of my all-time favorite Ninja Turtle images ever. So I really love this one, and it's $1.50. So what are we talking
Yeah,
about here?
yeah.
Not no more. It ain't.
No, no. No, so it was down between this one and um the original Raphael one, where it's him and Casey Jones on the cover. But I went with this one because I just think it's just such a cool coverage. I mean, this fight just looks awesome, and how they did this, making them really, really pop out in the front with how they did the background. I just love everything about this.
I like
This
but definitely the background.
Yeah, and this comic's awesome. This is the issue where they straight ripped from the pages to the movie, where they're fighting the Foot in April's second time around antique
Yeah,
shop.
yeah,
And this comic actually has probably one of my favorite comic book panels ever. It's the shot where Casey Jones is just like lunging into battle, and it is just big speech bubble above him that says "Goongala Goongala," and he's about
yes,
to mess stuff up. And it's
yeah,
yeah, this is a great comic.
man, yeah, I love
Good
this one.
choice, Johnny. This one's great.
I was really afraid of because I knew Will would have a turtle one on his too because we're big turtle
Yeah,
nerds.
I mean, I literally could have just done five turtles, so it was really hard
Yeah,
for me to pick. I just wanted to pick just one. And the one I went with we'll talk about later, but it's a personal favorite of mine. It was a holy grail of mine, and I was fortunate enough to find it graded. Um, it was
we
actually
know.
it was actually at my local toy store. Some guy turned in a bunch of graded turtle comics, and I had some store credit, so I used it in kind. It was great.
Gives you store. Oh, you trade in stuff.
Yeah.
All
Very
right.
cool.
Oh, what do you know, Will?
Biggity bam, here it is.
Wait a
Wait,
minute.
there's a back to this.
This is a back. So mine is also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, same run. Johnny's last issue was 10. This is issue 8. And this has got the debut of Renette and Savante Romero, the time traveling people. I always loved this comic as a kid. I was drawn to it for other reasons, if you get my drift, at first when I was just a child. But I really grew to love this comic.
The
I
weapon.
love the character of Cerebus.
You
He
like
had
hard
a
parts? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Those noses. But he had his own run, so this was a crossover before the Turtles. I mean, they were blowing up, but it was like them putting Mirage Studios putting their two biggest properties together in a crossover. Um, but they introduced the new characters of Renette, the Time Lord, and Savante Romero, and I just love the artwork on this. I love that again. The comics are front and back. Like if you look on the back cover, like you can see Savante. He's like coming through a time portal, and there's like warriors from different eras and artwork from different eras coming through. And I just thought that this is. I feel like I mean Turtles. They've done so much with them, but I feel like this is one of those storylines that they haven't really mined a lot. Like they could go into this and people are like, oh, this is stupid, not realizing that it's from the original OG Turtle Run. And
Yeah.
I always kind of like more of the outlandish turtle stories. Like that's the great thing about the turtles is like they can do something gritty in a sewer alley in a city alley where they're fighting crime, or they could time travel. I mean, except for the third movie, or they can go to like outer space and they can fight in like an arena, or like in the Archie comics, they can go to another planet and they can be in a wrestling federation. And they're just so versatile. You can put them in like any situation, and it's not outlandish. And
Yeah.
that's why I love this property because with all the reinvention they've done, like there hasn't been an incarnation that I've hated. Whereas like with Star Wars, I feel like it's at a different like everybody thinks got to make sense. Where the Turtles, it doesn't matter; they could just do whatever, and they're like I said, they're versatile. But I love this book. Highly recommend anybody read it and get into these characters. I was tickled pink when they finally made action figures of both Renette and Savante Romero. They were characters that I never thought I'd have in figure form, and they look like they ripped them just straight from the pages of the book. So,
It's a good old kitchen sink property, as they would call it.
oh yeah, you do whatever you want with it. It's great.
That's how they referred to Motu as well, where you could get the science and then or science fiction in with fantasy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
No,
G.I. Joe was even like that for a while too.
were they?
Yeah, they went down with like what was it, Serpentor?
Oh yeah, yeah, because
And they
he's
went into kind of the science fiction.
yeah. Okay, I
Some of
get
my favorite
with Serpent.
properties. Some of my favorite properties are the ones where the universe makes sense, where they can have like a really gritty, dramatic thing happen, but then like the next time they can have like some really over the top comedy thing happen, and both make sense.
Yeah, and that's the Turtles in a nutshell.
Yeah,
Like so,
the
like
hard shell. No,
yeah. Oh, there you go. But dump.
yours and a half. No.
Right, right here. Emerald Twilight,
Oh,
number two. So once again, Green Lantern was never, ever on my radar as a kid. Like I had the superpower toy, whatever. Okay, cool. Hal Jordan. Oh, look, there's Guy Gardner. Nothing really cool. Like nothing. I just never found anything great about Green Lantern. Then Emerald Twilight happened. And once again, I see the comic. I didn't even see number one. And I'm sitting there, my dad being the old school boomer that he was, I'm sitting there eating my probably Rice Krispie treat cereal. He's having his coffee, reading the paper, and he's telling me about how Hal Jordan went nuts over what was his girlfriend or his wife or something, and he is just murdering everybody in the Green Lantern Corps. And then I see this cover and I'm like, this is the craziest thing ever because it's the Green Lantern. I never seen him do anything like the Green Lantern or the Green Lantern Corps really do anything. I don't want to say not cool or edgy or anything, but then this whole story arc came into play where he's just going nuts and he's murdering people. I even think he murdered Sinestro. And
Now let me ask you this: do you think he's one of the goats? I mean, look at all those rings.
he's up there with Bill Russell.
Yeah, I think he's got more than Russell. I gotta say.
Yeah, he does.
So,
But the way that he's just taking people down because he feels like this is going to help him bring things back.
yeah,
And then this is probably the best cover out of this run here. I know 50 has him like coming out of the lantern out of Oa, and he just absorbed the whole entire lantern power and killed all the guardians and everything. I mean, this is how we got Kyle Rayner, but this cover just always stands out because Green Lantern was always just a guy like, ooh, like the Boy Scout. Well, I'm
yeah.
gonna do whatever, well, I'm gonna do this. And in the cartoon for Super Friends, oh, I'm gonna carry Batman around using my ring. And that's all he ever was. And now he's just straight nuts and he's just murdering people. He's got the Randy Orton thing going. He's got in his head.
And he's also sort of like I can see where like when they were when Star Wars was coming up with General Grievous, they can kind of look at this storyline. I'm like, oh, it's kind of because Grievous goes around and gets all his lightsaber collection from killing Jedi.
Yeah, like he just straight murdered people. Like he just went nuts. And I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting because it's just
Yeah,
not anywhere where I ever thought comics would go.
this is another like we were talking about with Batman. This was 94. This was part of the. It was an offshoot of the reign of Superman. This is DC was just knocking it out of the park in the early 90s.
It just this one always these are where I'm trying to find right now, even if I can find it all into a graphic novel form or each one. This and the funeral for the friends, I definitely want to get to go back, but this is definitely I think this is my favorite comic book cover of all time. Because
I get it. Yeah.
this
Now, at the end of this, he becomes Parallax, correct?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's when he absorbs the lantern power from Oa, and then there's only one
Oh, you
guard.
mean he can't move from the neck down?
There's the one guardian, and I think I don't know if he had a ring or they had to make a ring, and then they bring it down to Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, it was the introduction of that character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kyle Rayner was the new Green Lantern, but it kind of was sad when he was knocking him off like Kilowog and stuff like that. But Yeah. After this, it was pretty sweet. And then my dad I don't know if you remember this because it was only on AM radio. Paul from House of Fantasy had his own radio show on AM radio.
I did not know that.
Yes. So we would listen to it and he would ask a trivia question and you would have to call in and you would win, comic or something. And my dad called in, he got the right one, and I won a glow in the dark Green Lantern ring. So it was all green like that, but right in the center of the lantern was this little glow in the dark thing. And I wore that. I think I probably wore that thing more than my own wedding ring. But
Now, did it give you sight beyond sight?
no, that's the sort of
But
omen.
well, you got to say it. You got to say the thing first for it. Does that right?
Yeah, in the brightest day, in the darkest night, no evil
Yeah.
shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, my Green Lantern's light.
Ryan Reynolds has got nothing on you.
Nope. Now ask me. Now,
What a waste. Like they used Parallax in that film and he was a fart cloud, just like Galactus.
yeah,
Just terrible.
that whole. I was not pleased with that movie at all.
I don't think anybody
Well,
was.
I don't even think anybody involved was pleased with it.
No, I don't
They
think so.
did a cartoon on a Cartoon Network right after that, and it wasn't all that great either. Probably because I don't know. I need some grittiness, and this was the grittiness that I needed. 94, I was 12, so yeah. This is what
That's the gritty age. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, consider it. I've been desensitized since
You've
Yeah,
been
it's
gritty
true.
since 5.
Yes. Since 4 or 5,
Yeah.
My aunt making me watch Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff. So yeah, hey, but yeah, this is the very last one. But yeah, this is my favorite.
I think we've had some sweet picks here.
Yep. I did have an over under on how many turtle comics were going to be on here. I'm not going to lie.
I think, in fact, we only had 3. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was your over?
Like I said, I could have easily just done 5
I,
total comics.
I was expecting at least 5 out of
There are so many that I'm just like they're iconic to me.
Yeah.
And I love the books of these books. I love the stories. But like I'm looking at the comic cover itself and I'm like, if I was just going by the cover alone, this sucks.
I almost had a third one, and it was going to be when Archie Comics was doing the Turtles,
oh,
and it's when the Turtles became pro wrestlers on the other planet,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just a cover of them being pro wrestlers in the ring.
The Stump Wrestling Federation.
I was gonna pick because I was big into like the quarter comics, like I said. I was gonna try and find one with the good old Spider Pig on there because I always liked that arc.
Peter
Yeah,
Porker.
well-
Yeah.
Peter Porker.
My 6th comic was going to be well, it would have been my most recent one because it would have been when they did the Rocket Raccoon solo series with Scotty Young doing it. I really love that series a lot. One of my favorite artists too.
Yeah,
Go to your local comic book shop, folks.
yeah. Honestly,
While
dude.
they're still there, because the one I used to go to is gone now. It's sad.
Yeah.
And
Comic-
what is it? Diamond Comics, they went out of business? The one distributor?
I think what happened was the big like DC and Marvel said they weren't going to use them anymore. So essentially, I know what it
Okay.
was. I think they might have went out of business too. I don't know.
don't
Can't
say
remember exactly what it was. They don't use them anymore to distribute the big ones. I know that.
well, didn't DC go all digital or something? I heard.
A lot of them have, yeah, where you can buy the subscription and you get all the digital comics.
That's not fun.
No, you gotta have it and hold it, love it, crinkle it,
Yeah.
bag it, board it,
Smell,
all that good stuff.
that smell. Just
Yeah.
Yeah. The one place Comic Warriors I was talking about, they went out of business here. It was just a great little comic shop. And then they're only doing online now because I guess their rent got bumped up. And then like the other one, like the closest one to me is not even a comic shop because if you're not going to keep the stuff organized, don't even have it out there. Sorry, being a snob, but
I don't
We
think it's a
really don't.
snob. I think it's just asking, hey, make us a little easier on your customers.
yeah, like I was in there and I was like, okay, I'll dig through. And then all of a sudden I was like, where's the S's? And I'm like looking through and I'm like, okay, here's the Superman, here's the Superman. And then all of a sudden it'd be like something else that doesn't even start with an
Yeah,
S.
like if I would have went there, like, hey, you got any Nightwing? And he was like, yeah, it's in there somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it was. Like there was
Yeah.
a stack of comics on top of like the long box.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we're just gonna put these here for now.
Yeah, there's certain things that as you're selling them, you don't need to organize, and there's certain things that you need to organize, like books, records, movies. Like I
Yeah.
can't stand going into a movie store and they're like their DVDs are just random. There's no rhyme or
Haphazard,
reason.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
just
can,
alphabetize them. It's not hard.
it's not
Or
hard.
at least like organize them some way, like by genre or something. Do something.
Yeah, but
Too
yeah,
bad.
I think we only have really one true comic book store in like the whole area anymore. Like everything else has gone under.
Sad.
Yeah, it is. Well, the one, I think it was a married couple and they got divorced, so they closed down. And then all the other ones, they've just kind of dwindled. If they're still in business, they're not really doing comics anymore. Or
Yeah.
if they are, it's just like we got new releases, and once those are gone, they're gone. And that's it. We have no back issues.
Yeah.
Our whole
So,
network was founded on back issue.
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you know that? Yeah. Well, you knew that, didn't you? Like this whole podcast network started with Chris's Back Issues Comic Book podcast.
Yeah. What
So it kind of started this
BIPPP
one.
stands for.
Yeah.
I never knew that until Chris told me. But
I
that
think it's just the OG, so I knew that. Retro Bliss though predated that. I just gotta put that out there. God, I've been podcasting for a long time.
I've only done it for right before the pandemic. For
Oh
about
wow, really?
6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, you got me by a couple months then.
I think I'm almost a decade.
Damn.
Yeah. I got so much to show for it. I'm like a Z level celebrity. It's great.
It's all because I sent Matt a message and then all of a sudden I was on the 2 point and I was on the 2 point again because he'd be like, hey, I need a guest. I'm like, I'll do it.
And look what this show became because you took pity on me and said, let's let Johnny
Oh,
be on
because
here.
you were the only person that was like, hey, do you mind if I just do this with you? And I'm like, yeah, let's just roll with it. And we'll
Yeah.
do this.
Called being desperate, and you let me be desperate.
And then you
There
were
you
like,
go.
and then you were like, hey, I got this weird friend Will. Do you want me to pass along? And I was like, did he get a note from his mom? And he was like, and you were like, yeah, I think so.
Will is as desperate for attention as I am, and that's why we get along so well.
That's what it's all about.
But
Yeah, but speaking of attention, what comic book covers did you guys like? If you want to share those on our Facebook page and on our Instagram, go to those and check those out. Andrew does a fantastic job on those.
check out our YouTube channel. I'm gonna actually whip up a little video. And if you like more comic book stuff, because we ripped this idea from a dear friend of ours, Matt Johnson, go check out the Eat Sleep List YouTube channel where he does his top 10 favorite comic
Yes.
books as well as many other lists. And with that being said, what may not be nostalgia for you may be nostalgia for some.
Excelsior.